Hello and welcome to this special edition of We the People, coming to you this evening from Mumbai. The city has become the subject or the focus of not just national but even global attention. This after the execution of Yakub Memon, convicted for the 1993 blasts in which 257 people were killed. Many are describing this as a moment that finally provides some emotional closure and some justice for the victims of the Mumbai blasts. Others, however, on the ground here in Mumbai are questioning that narrative as incomplete. They're saying that while there should be and must be justice for the blast victims, what about justice for the victims, 900 of whom died in the riots that preceded the blasts? On We the People today, we look at whether the state has in fact displayed a dualism, whether the idea of justice can be complete without justice for both the blast victims and the riot victims, or why it has to be an either-or debate at all. Also, has the Yakub Memon execution given us pause, and should it make us reconsider our laws on capital punishment? I'll start with you, Shobha Dey. You have been writing that there is an attempt in a section of the media to create empathy, as it were, for Yakub Memon, but why not the same empathy for the victims of the blasts? Why did you see this week as a week that attempted to create empathy for Memon, when all, at least some journalists simply did, was to question the narrative around Memon, to question whether he had indeed cooperated with investigative agencies, and then, of course, philosophical differences on capital punishment?
Barkha, to start with, it's a city that's deeply scarred, Mumbai. It's a deeply wounded city. We are living in very, very volatile, very emotional times. Anybody who has lived through those times cannot really be disconnected emotionally from the issue. A death is a death is a death.
A victim is a victim is a victim.
Absolutely. So there is no question. I didn't say that there was an attempt to lionize him or make him a hero, though there have been sections in the media who have said it. I do believe that in a democracy, whoever has an opinion to state, post the hanging, before the hanging, now that it's a huge debate that must be encouraged. As you can see, I'm very bleary-eyed. I haven't slept for a week. There's a dichotomy in my own mind. I'm confused. Yeah. Is this right? Is this wrong? I am questioning everything.
And I think that confusion or contradictions or ambivalence that you feel may capture what a lot of us feel.
A lot of us, I'm
but
sure.
Ashok, you don't have that confusion. I've been following your tweets. You actually said saluting the Indian judiciary for upholding this verdict. But you belong to this city. You know what the sentiments are on the ground. Some people are saying, bahut acha hua. There are other people who are saying, acha hua, lekin incomplete justice hai. And then there's a third category who is saying, pata nahi acha bhi hua ya nahi.
Barkha, I'm a victim of terrorism myself in Kashmir. Any murder or any killing is not right if he is innocent. We are talking about mercy petitions. We are talking about a convicted terrorist. We were concerned about whether he was rightly hanged or not hanged. All these lawyers reached the Chief Justice's house late in the night. The people whom he killed, he didn't give them opportunity to file mercy petitions. He didn't give them an opportunity. He didn't give them an opportunity to talk to their daughters on the phone. It was a mass murder. So if you have taken the right to live from me, I have a right to take the life from you. And there should be hanged. It's as simple as that. That does not get into the technicalities. That does not get into the legalities. I wanted to live and you didn't allow me to live. So you have no right to live.
Let me just bring in Dilip D'Souza now. Dilip, I think the point that Ashok Pandit raises is that there's a perception that there was an exceptionalism shown for a man who was convicted for terrorism. That a battery of lawyers were there knocking on the judiciary's door at midnight. That nobody went to the judiciary at midnight to knock for the victims of the blast.
Everybody, every criminal, like it or not, in a democracy, in a judiciary, has to have representation. I have no problem with Yakub Memon getting his punishment, whatever it is. I do have a philosophical objection to the death penalty, I will admit that. But nobody that I know of has ever said, give him mercy, don't punish him, he's not guilty. We are opposed to the death penalty. And people are saying the dichotomy that you raised earlier of the justice that has been delivered in the case of the bomb blast and the injustice that still persists in the case of the
riot victims.
Please tell me, where are the people talking about the justice for those people?
On this program. We are talking about them.
I'm so glad you are. And let me also say, there was a long trial of 15 years, 100 people were convicted in the case of the bomb blast. There have been 3 convictions. in the case of the riots, and those are for hate speech. They're not even for rape and murder.
But Shobha, respond to what Dilip is saying, that Ashok may have his sentiment absolutely taken, but for the city of Mumbai that saw these as twins, as coupled, interlinked, interwoven events.
Every terror act is related. When people die, when innocents die, we should feel exactly the same way for innocents anywhere in the world dying. What we're saying today is there has been a selective process and that the state has not been completely transparent and fair. So where do we start now? Do we begin by all the what has preceded? And then in that case, let's fast track everything. And I think the time to transform India, to take a fresh look at the judicial process is now. Is now.
Can you see, some people say, agar justice ek cheez mein nahi hui, iska ye nahi matlab that you question it when it happens in the other. You have welcomed this execution.
No, you know, very frankly, it's been blown out of proportion.
How?
Man has been convicted. He's gone through every judicial procedure that was available to him, and his capital punishment was upheld. Now we are blowing it out of proportion. That is no concern. How can you say that justice has been delivered by hanging one person? Most of the persons who are behind the plot are sitting pretty behind the skirts of ISI or somewhere.
Tiger Memon and Dawood Ibrahim.
You can't say that justice has been delivered to the blast victims. Riot victims, no justice has been given.
That you concede?
Yeah, I concede. Because it was shoddily, sloppily investigated by officers who themselves were accused of complicity.
Ashok, quick response and then I want to come into the
Barkha, I want to raise one more question. This entire euphoria, lawyers reaching in the night, 2 o'clock, judges remaining awake for the entire night. Why was not this done when Ajmal Kasab was hanged? Just because let me finish.
Nobody felt for Kasab.
I'll tell you.
Okay.
The reason is that Ajmal Kasab was a poor guy. He had no money behind him. There was no money. There was no money. There was no money. He was left behind.
Who's come here?
No. You're not trying to understand.
You cannot compare.
Shobhaji, you're not trying to understand what I'm saying. Tiger Memon's money, Daw's money, which was pumped in to save this man at the last minute, is what I'm questioning. Nothing
Can
else.
you prove that?
1 minute. You are saying, 1 minute. You are saying Dawood's money and Tiger Memon's money has financed those 5 lawyers who went to the Supreme Court in the middle. How can you say that? How can you say that? Ashok, come on. That's not
very obvious.
That's very
obvious.
1 second. You can feel it, but you must be able to substantiate something so
very
serious.
obvious.
Ashok, how is it obvious? Are you
obvious.
saying anybody who disagrees with an execution is financed by the ISI?
It's very obvious. It's seen.
How is it
The
obvious?
entire element.
Okay. Shobha, you obviously disagree.
I never
I
right to
have
feel
a
the
serious
difference.
issue.
Yes,
Kasab was a Pakistani man sent on a specific mission. Neither did he say he
It's a
didn't
murder.
do it. Hold on.
It's a mass murder.
Hold on. Yes, he was an illiterate man. He was a poor man. You cannot equate an educated professional working in the city of Mumbai
And an Indian. Please let us not forget that Memon is Indian. Kasab is Pakistani.
That is the normal thing.
Okay. Now one second. Ashok ji, in a democracy, Ashok ji, with due respect, in a democracy, you can't say anyone who disagrees with you is Pakistani or financed by Pakistan. ये तो नहीं हो सकता ना, sir.
मैं सोच नहीं सकता.
नहीं, आप सोच सकते हैं. आपकी सोच में किसी का कंट्रोल नहीं है. I need to go to the other.
Was a product of Mumbai. He was a Mumbaiker at the end of it all.
So he has the right to
The city
kill.
made him.
Okay, Dilip, one thing. Ashok, come on. Can we move on? Dilip, I've got everybody else waiting to speak, so one sentence.
Let us please equate the terrorism of 1992-93, what we're calling riots, with the terrorism of those bomb blasts. Let us talk about that equation.
Is it equivalent?
Yeah, I think
Is it equivalent? Because there are those who have argued that a terrorist plot like the blast is a well-planned conspiracy. A riot is often a large mob which is not planned in the same way.
Can I quote to you what Justice Shri Krishna
let me come in.
Can I just say
Let me
that?
come
Just
in.
one sec.
Let me come in.
Okay.
No, let me come in.
Let him complete a sentence, then you.
Says, Bal Thackeray, like a veteran general, commanded his Shiv Saiниks to organize attacks against Muslims. I don't see what is more well planned than that.
Zafar.
No,
Zafar.
no, the resentment is not at all, I want to tell you, against execution of Memon.
Yakub,
It's not there. We have moved beyond. I'm firmly believing that justice was prevailed. He was given best chance, going to the Supreme Court, midnight, presidential pardon. Let's finish it off. And my belief is
And 21 years.
all arguments should be only till the judgment is made.
Agreed.
After that,
Agreed.
no argument.
Agreed.
Okay, now I want to say something.
But there are
What is
questions
the
that
duplicity?
remain that are still
What is
an
the
open
duplicity? Now
wound
listen
in
to me,
Mumbai.
please. The duplicity which
Yes.
is hounding, and I want to ask, can there be peace without justice? We have been seeing this for the past 65 years. In 1983, 10,000 Muslims were massacred in Neli. There was a commission called Mishra Commission.
Yeah.
That report has not been tabled yet after
Yeah.
32
Yes.
years.
Yes.
I want to ask, were those 10,000 not Indians? Who were they? Again, in Hashimpur, from 7-year-old
Yeah.
to 87-year-old is cold-blooded murdered by the police.
Yeah.
What do you call? Is it not an act of terror?
Yeah.
Is it not murder? And what has happened to them? And again, this Supreme Court judgment says, the Supreme Court judgment, that this bomb blast happened because something had happened in 92-93 where 970 Muslims were massacred. I want to ask the Mumbaikars, were those 970 not Indians? Who were they? Were they killed by some alien? When bomb blast happened, you hounded, 1,000 policemen hounded in Mahim. Even the barber who was cutting hair of that Daud or you know the Tiger Memon were put behind bars for 6, 7, 8 months. Why did you not show that alacrity when
So I'm
970
hearing
people
you
were killed?
say
So
that
this duplicity,
I'm hearing you say the
Barkha,
debate on Memon is closed.
It's
The
closed.
man is dead.
It's closed.
The verdict has been
it's
delivered.
closed. I'm not arguing.
You are
I'm
arguing
the
on
duplicity.
state response, structural duplicity in state
Structural
response.
duplicity.
Okay, now
Can you reply to me? Were they not
Zafar. Now, I have to my left and right, according to me, mirror images of grief and of injustice. I have Tahir Wagle and Girish Mehta, both lost their sons. One son was the victim of the blasts. The other son was the victim of the riots in police firing. This politics means nothing to them because these are two men who have suffered in identical ways, even though their lives are deconstructed on opposite sides of the political trenches. And I just want to hear from them before we come back to all of you. गिरीश जी, आपसे शुरू करूंगी. आपका बेटा 13 साल का था. He was 13 years old. क्या हुआ? How did he die in the blast? आप जरा हमारे ऑडियंस को बताइए.
जब 12 मार्च को फ्राइडे को जब सुबह हुई तभी मुझे पता नहीं था कि आज के दिन मेरे लिए एक इतना ख़राब दिन होएगा. वहाँ सीक्रेट आर्ट्स हाई स्कूल में वो पढ़ता था. उस दिन 10 बजे वो आ गया स्कूल से. तो मैंने पूछा क्यों आज? तो बोले पापा आज 12 मार्च को आज एसएससी के एग्ज़ाम शुरू हुई है तो आज हमें सबको स्कूल में से छोड़ दिया, छुट्टी मिल गया. तो बाद में उन्होंने बोला कि पापा आज मैं क्रिकेट को प्रैक्टिस को शिवाजी पार्क जिमखाना में वो जाता था तो बोला आज मैं जल्दी जाऊंगा पापा. मैं बोला कोई वांधा नहीं. बोला
तो क्रिकेट खेलने गए
या क्रिकेट प्रैक्टिस कर 2 साल से वो प्रैक्टिस कर रहा था. मस्जिद बंदर में मेरा क्लाइंट के साथ बात कर रहा था तो 1-1:30 बजे वहाँ ब्लास्ट हो गया सेंचुरी अपना मस्जिद बंदर में जौहरी बाजार में. तो मैं जो बिल्डिंग में बैठा था वो पूरा बिल्डिंग हिल गया. तो हम सब लोग बोला अरे क्या हो गया? तो बोले ब्लास्ट हो गया है. तो मैंने पूछा कि भाई ब्लास्ट हो गया? तो वो बोले कि नहीं यहाँ नहीं हुआ है, बहुत सब जगह पे हो गया है. मैं तुरंत मस्जिद बंदर से मैं निकलने के बाद मैं तुरंत घर पे आया. घर पे मैंने वाइफ को पूछा कि भाई क्या तेजस का क्या है कुछ? वो बोले वो तो निकल गया. तो बोला अभी सेंचुरी बाजार में हुआ है, शिवसेना भवन में हुआ है. तो अभी मुझे डाउट हुआ कि लड़का के पीछे मुझे अभी क्या करूँ मैं. तो मैं चल के मैं और माय ब्रदर दोनों चल के गए तो सेंचुरी बाजार में पूरा ब्लास्ट हो गया था. तो जो दृश्य देखा मुझे बहुत हो गया. बोला तो बाद में मैं आगे गया शिवाजी पार्क में. मैं वहाँ पे पूछा, मैं बोला मेरा तेजस लड़का यहाँ पे आया है? बोले नहीं यहाँ तो आया नहीं है. तो मैं बोला ठीक है. बाद में मुझे और थोड़ा ज़्यादा हो गया. मैं बोला अभी ये कहाँ भी फंस गया है. तो मैं बोला चलो कहाँ भी किसी पेरेंट ने किसी ने छोटा बच्चा है तो कहाँ भी उसको संभाल के रखा होगा. तो मैं और मेरा भाई दोनों पूरा ढूंढ के पूरा दिन हमने ढूंढते निकाल दिया. कहाँ भी पता नहीं चला. बाद में सुबह हम जब 8:30 बजे हम पोदार हॉस्पिटल वहाँ पे है. वहाँ पे मेरे फ्रेंड ने मुझे बताया कि गिरीश भाई ये आपका लड़का मुझे लगता है, और वो लड़के का तब पोजीशन था, उसका पूरा यहाँ जल गया था, पूरा शरीर, कुछ हड्डी सिर्फ थी, नथिंग एल्स। तो आइडेंटिफाई के लिए ऊपर वाला ने मुझे क्या किया होगा कि गिरीश आपका आइडेंटिफाई के लिए मैं इतना, उन्होंने मेरे लड़के का इतना फेस रख दिया।
तो आप
आर यू बिलीव, आप नहीं मानेंगे, मैंने जब देखा तभी उसकी आँख, उसका ये नाक, कान और बाल शेप, पूरा शेप था, कुछ उसको इफेक्ट नहीं हुआ था, बाकी सब जल गया था। तो मैं खुद सरप्राइज हुआ, मैं बोला अरे पूरा शरीर जल गया है, हड्डी है सिर्फ, और ऐसा बैठा है वो सीट पे, और पूरा शेप, पूरा ऊपर का फेस दिख रहा है। तो मैंने तुरंत, मेरे फ्रेंड थे, उसको डेटोल से हमने पूरा साफ किया। बाद में मैंने आइडेंटिफाई किया कि ही इज़ माई सन, माई तेजस। तो बाद में जब किया तभी हमने फाइनल किया कि ये मेरा लड़का है।
और आज आप वो टाई लेके आए हैं?
यस
टाई
यस,
आप लेके आए हैं?
जी, ये जो उनका तो स्कूल का यूनिफॉर्म है, उस दिन उन्होंने टाई, ये टाई है उसका।
This is the tie that Tejas was wearing when his father
Memory, for memory.
For memory.
Yeah.
What does this tie mean to you today? एक आपकी बच्चे की निशानी।
Yes, निशानी, this is निशानी, for this is also निशानी। ये खुद उनका ड्राइंग है, लास्ट उन्होंने जो किया था ड्राइंग।
These are his last drawings. ये एग्जीक्यूशन जो हुई है, आपको लगता है कि जो आपका दर्द है उस पे कुछ मरहम लगी?
सवाल ही नहीं है,
बच्चा तो वापस नहीं आ सकता।
सवाल ही नहीं है।
Now it's heartbreaking, and you know, you're looking at these photographs, the tie, and next to me is another father. This is Girish Mehta. Son is victim of the blast. This is Tahir Wagle. Son died in police firing. Shahnawaz. So this is Tejas's father. This is Shahnawaz's father. Tahir bhai, क्या हुआ शाहनवाज के साथ?
शाहनवाज को बाइकला पुलिस ने मार दी गोली से, पॉइंट ब्लैंक रेंज में।
क्यों?
17 साल का था, और वो 10 तारीख को मारा उसको, 10 जनवरी को। पहले पुलिस 10 बजे डिक्लेयर की कि कर्फ्यू ऑर्डर है, कोई बाहर नहीं निकले। फिर 11 बजे कॉम्बिंग ऑपरेशन के नाम पे गलत फ़ायदा लेके वो लोग ऊपर आए, और जितने भी जवान बूढ़े मिले सब लोगों को नीचे लेके आए, और किक मार के वो राइफल का जो बट होता है ना, उससे मार मार के वो गाड़ियों में बिठाते गए। मेरे लड़के को नीचे लाए, उसने आइडेंटिटी कार्ड बताया, बोला मैं साइंस में पढ़ता हूँ अल्पेशन कॉलेज में। उसका कार्ड फाड़ के फेंक दिया। किशोर मालकर पीसी था, पुलिस कांस्टेबल। बोलते घूम जा, ये मेरी वाइफ है, ये वहाँ पर थी, ऊपर से देख रही थी। उसको घुमाया, उसके कमर में से लगाया वो राइफल 303 की, और दबा दिया। बाद में उसको जस्टिस कृष्ण कमीशन ने, वो मेरे पास आए थे देखने के लिए, और उन्होंने अपने रिपोर्ट में लिख दिया इट इज़ कोल्ड ब्लड मर्डर फ्रॉम द पॉइंट ब्लैंक रेंज। ये मैंने नहीं लिखा, वो उन्होंने, जज ने लिखा। उसके बाद भी पुलिस भरोसा नहीं कर रही है, और मेरी एफआईआर लेने से इनकार कर रही थी। कितने सीपी के बाद में गया, लास्ट में मैं बोला हसन गफूर साहब हैं, उनके पास जाऊँ। वो बोले मैं कुछ नहीं करता, तुम हाई कोर्ट में जाओ।
ये अम्मी बैठी है शाहनवाज की आपके साथ?
जी हाँ।
आप कुछ कहना चाहेंगे?
वो टूर थी ना नीचे,
पुलिस मारने को उठी थी हम लोग को, तो वो
नहीं बता सकते थे। मैं
नहीं, कोई बात नहीं।
नहीं, मुझे थोड़ा बोलना। 527 नंबर से केस उन्होंने आरिफ नसीम खान ने दाखिल किया है। फिर जज साहब ने पूछे मुझे, तुमने उसको पावर दिया था नसीम खान को? मैंने कहा नहीं। आरिफ नसीम खान को मैंने आरटीआई मारा। बोला तुमने ऐसा क्यों किया, मुझे दिल्ली में ले जाके क्यों बता दिया? अब मैं 65 ईयर्स ओल्ड हूँ, मैं कहाँ से दिल्ली जाऊँ, और मैं कहाँ से इतना पैसा लाऊँ वकील लोगों को देने के लिए? अभी आप लोग, मैं कल मुझे 2-4 फ़ोन आए दिल्ली से, जब याकूब मेमन को फांसी हो गई। याकूब मेमन बोले आपका क्या इरादा ऐसा था? बोले याकूब मेमन का तो वो सुप्रीम कोर्ट से हुआ, मेरा भी बेटे का सुप्रीम कोर्ट में 527 नंबर का केस है। अगर आप लोग उसको विड्रॉल करके वोक्स आपको देते हो
तो आपको लगता होगा कि आपके लिए कौन बोलने वाले?
मैं अभी वो सुप्रीम कोर्ट में जो होगा वो अगर मेरा लेके आता है, आप लोग मुझे मदद करते हो तो ठीक है।
To me, these are the stories of two fathers that are the human stories, and yet we are selective in our outrage. Meena, let me bring you in. You've actually chronicled this extensively, what happened to Mumbai after the riots. This grief is equal. This grief mirrors each other, yet it is such a politicized discourse.
Precisely, that's the problem, I think. And it's very strange if you ask people, a lot of people think the blast came first and the Muslims took revenge in the riot. It's a strange blip that we have in our memories. And I know Tahir Bhai very well, I've covered his case. They didn't even register an FIR. You know what Justice Sri Krishna said today in Yakub's case, at least the process was complete. In this case, there's no process of law. And that is the difference. Like you said, there shouldn't be a dichotomy. In grief, in terror, in riots, justice must be universal. And revenge is not justice. And what we are doing today is we are seeking revenge through justice.
Now,
and why hasn't justice been delivered in certain cases? And it's not that in the riots, people went up to the Supreme Court in the Gandhi Chaul case. And the case was, the people were acquitted. But no one followed up even that case, where the victims were showcased as the face of the Mumbai riot.
Let me bring in Suresh Walishetty. Suresh Walishetty was the investigating officer in the 93 blast, instrumental in actually nailing the entire Memon family's role and, you know, really cracking that case. So how do you see the developments of the last week? Aap kaise dekhte hain?
When you started the discussion, you are told that whether the justice has been given to the victims.
Yes.
Not only victims. It is the investigating agency also. It is our exam also. Absolutely. If we fail to detect such type of cases, what will be our fate? So from that angle also, one should think whether the justice has been given to the investigating agencies.
And do you believe it has?
Partially.
What would make it complete?
There are some people who are wanted by CBI and Bombay police. They are to be arrested, they are to be brought, they are to be placed before the court. Trial should go on.
You're saying it's not just justice for the victims like Girish Mehta, it's also justice for people like you and for the it's a vindication.
You may not be knowing, when there was such type of incidents, we did not go home for 8 days. Entire police force was after this case. We never went home.
But why that alacrity was not shown when 970 Muslims were killed?
Barkha, I need to come
You should have shown why that was not shown. If you would have shown.
Please respond to that. Suresh?
We are not from judiciary, we are not from politicians.
No, investigation. I'm asking about investigation.
I tell you.
Why you did not investigate about the deaths of 970?
Okay, let him speak. Let him speak. Let him speak.
Investigation which is given to a particular officer, it is he will go only through that particular case.
So you did what you were assigned to do.
Whatever
so you can't answer.
Selective awarding.
Can I get Sanju? Can I get Sanju? Okay, let's please just get.
970. We just should make it clear that that's not 970 Muslims, Zafar. It was about.
I'm talking of not Muslims. 970.
Yeah, Hindus were also killed.
Victims.
Don't communalize it.
Victims.
Okay.
What is the problem?
Can we speak?
I don't want.
Can we bring in Sanju Verma?
Victims.
Sanju. The BJP and the Shiv Sena objected to Salman Khan, for example, initially going on Twitter. But why has the BJP said nothing at all about your ally, the Shiv Sena, who has been indicted in the Sri Krishna report when it comes to the riots? I think people are not standing here in defense of Yakub Memon. People are standing here in demand for consistency of justice.
The spokesperson for BJP Mumbai, now there are 3 points I want to mention precisely. A, as you rightly said, the debate about whether Yakub Memon should have been hanged or not, that is closed. He was not hanged either for murder or for illegally possessing explosives.
Yes.
He was basically brought to justice because he waged a war against the Indian state.
Absolutely.
And let us not forget that today we need to remember what the United Nations has said in the Global Terrorism Index report that came out last year. India has the shameful distinction after 10 years of UPA rule of not only being known as the hunger capital and the rape capital of the world, it also has the shameful distinction of being known as the terror capital of the world. And it has been said, let me complete, it has been said that India is amongst the 10
So we are not debating the Memon execution. I am saying again and again, we are not debating.
I have a question for her.
Let me speak.
Yes.
Now coming to the communal color.
Yes.
Post-independence, and please listen to this carefully. You know, I have many Muslim friends. In fact, some of my best friends are Muslims. That said, please allow me to speak. Have the grace to listen. Post-independence.
Let us speak. Please. Okay, sir. Sanju, complete your point.
there have been 172 executions, precisely speaking, of which
No, we are not. I'm
only
not interested
15
about Memon.
only
No, you
15 were
about the
Muslim.
duplicity. You
Does
answer
that
about the
mean
duplicity.
That our justice system is pro-Hindu and
No, we have not questioned. It is not a discussion. No. You are digressing.
Barkha,
It's full
please.
stop. No, you
Zafar, let her speak. She has a right to her opinion also.
We are not talking about Memon.
You cannot.
Sanju, complete your point.
Everybody agrees here that the one man who we lost last week, Abdul Kalam, everybody, I think without exception, agrees that he was unbiased, a noble soul.
Yes.
Now let me ask one question. Abdul Kalam received 21 petitions, mercy petitions, when he was the president from 2002 to 2007.
Yes.
And there was only one petition on which he acted, where he said, this guy needs to go to the gallows.
Yes.
Dhananjay Chatterjee
Yes.
for raping and killing a teenager.
Yes.
Does that mean that Abdul Kalam was anti-Bengali? He was anti-Hindu? No.
We are not discussing this.
Let me, Lara Jasani.
I have a question.
No, I have to go.
a
No,
question.
there are other people who waited to
I
speak.
have a
Lara Jasani, she raises the point that there is an impression being created in the media, in the public discourse, that the judiciary is anti-minority. I think that's what I'm summarizing your position, and she's proving.
But it is she's saying, we are not saying.
No,
Muslim
she is
has ever
saying-
said.
The media.
You are saying.
Nobody here has said it.
You said they
Sanju, nobody here has cast aspersions on the fairness or the intent of the judiciary. We are talking about what a judge, Justice Sri Krishna, has called a bias. He welcomes the execution of Memon. He's only asking what happened to the riot victims. Now, Lara, I want you to respond what Sanju has said, that a kind of hysteria is being created. There's a suggestion of bias when it doesn't exist statistically.
See, it's about bias right from the inception.
Yeah.
We are talking about how the police acted in investigating both these separate cases.
Yeah.
When a crime is committed, it is a crime against the state.
Yes.
It becomes the state's responsibility to prosecute that crime.
Yeah.
It becomes the police's responsibility to investigate that crime.
Yeah.
What we saw happened in the riots was the police complicity in the crime and later on its ineffectiveness to prosecute those cases. So the state entirely failed in that
Khan
process.
Sahab, you're a police officer. Do you agree?
I don't think the lady has experienced anything during the riots. I was in charge of North Mumbai.
Yeah.
I was in the thick of riots.
Yes.
There was tremendous bias on part of the police. The common policeman was totally biased. So were some of the officers. We tried to take care of as many cases as possible, but the investigation ultimately went to the police station level, where it was totally bungled up. It was shoddily done. And after the Shiv Sena BJP government came in, it was patronized by them.
But this happened on the Congress watch. Let it be said that this happened on the Congress NCP watch. No party comes out well in this. No party comes out well in this.
Barkha,
I am saying all parties failed these riot victims. All parties failed these riot victims.
Equal hands in the blood of Muslims.
Okay, Lara,
it is not about-
and
it is
then
neither
Meena, and then
about-
Ashok, then Shobha. Yes, come on.
It is not about Congress or BJP.
Yes.
Here the BJP spokesperson
system.
might try to color
it's
it
a system.
politically,
It's a
but we
system.
are having a debate on the system and whether it has actually worked for this riot victims or not. What she evaded was the question that you put to her. What happened with the BJP? Why did they not raise any voice against their ally Shiv Sena?
Let me get
Work
Ashok
for the
Pandit on that.
riot victims. I think that is a
justice
very
is an
important
evolving
point that
process.
needs to be.
So many
After 22 years.
please do not try to give it a communal color.
Okay, guys, cut it out. Cut it out. There are people. Can we remember that there are real people here? That there is Tahir Wagle and Girish here listening to this. We have to have a more
It's a joke.
honest, gentler conversation. Ashok.
Khan Sahab, with due respect to him, he said that the police bungled up.
Yes.
And he was on his job that time. He was on.
Yes.
He wasn't there.
Yes.
So does he take this responsibility of the entire failure of the police?
Good
Because
question.
just abusing the police officers there and
Yeah.
constables.
Yeah.
If you are in the top position, the responsibility was yours. Why did you allow this to happen?
Well, I was one person. I was going wherever the police failed to act against the rioters and people who were being murdered. I went there personally with my boys and I rectified the whole thing. But I couldn't take care of 900 odd cases myself. It would be a superhuman job.
Okay.
And I have one more
Yeah,
question
1 minute.
I'll ask.
I'll come to you. I will come to everybody. This is the order I'm picking. Shobha.
Thank you. I think what we are talking about is a cover-up, an official cover-up. That's what it amounts to. So there's complicity and there's a cover-up, and there have been many such cover-ups.
Yeah.
And we don't want to table that because it's going to open a can of worms across India and across many such situations.
And across parties, may
and
it be
across
said.
parties where there has been state complicity. Now, the thing also to ask is that what has the government done for the victims of the blast? Did the government reach out to even one person? Was compensation offered? Have they tried? Have they even visited the homes of those victims? I believe they have not. So, I mean, whatever has happened, we can put it into past tense. Yakub is dead and gone, but the government is in place. Nothing has been done.
Agreed. Dilip.
None of us here, I believe, has a brief for the Congress during those riots, because Sudhakar Naik was the Chief Minister, Sharad Pawar became the Chief Minister after him. The Congress completely failed this country. Okay? It is also true that once the Sri Krishna Commission started in 1996, the Shiv Sena BJP government, which had come into power, disbanded the Sri Krishna Commission. And it is Atal Bihari Vajpayee who, in his wisdom, spoke to Manoj Joshi and said, please reinstate the Sri Krishna Commission. Finally, in 1999, when the Congress came back to power, they came back on a promise to implement the Sri Krishna Commission, which they have failed us again. So I don't think anybody of us here has any brief for the Congress.
Meena.
They're not interested.
They're not interested.
You must blame the Congress primarily because of two things. One is they didn't curb the right-wing extremism in this country, and secondly, they did not act in the case of the Sikh riots, the anti-Sikh riots.
One left-wing. Terrorism has no religion, no caste, no creed, and extremism is not right-wing or left-wing. I'm sorry, I take objection to that. Extremism is never right-wing or left-wing.
Police bungled up, that's true. There are 31 policemen whose cases are still pending in the Supreme Court. Why hasn't action been taken?
Okay, can I come back into the audience for just a moment? Now, again, what we have tried to do on this show is actually to say that victims don't care about politics, victims care about justice, and victims are victims irrespective of religion and irrespective of party affiliation. To my left here is Jilajit Singh. He's a 1993 blast victim. He makes sandwiches outside the Bombay Stock Exchange. To my right is Farooq Mapkar, took a bullet during the riots, again a victim of police firing. पहले जिलाजीत आपसे बात करूंगी, मैं उस दिन आपको मिली बॉम्बे स्टॉक एक्सचेंज में, आपने मुझे कहा 22 साल बाद भी मेरे शरीर में आज भी शीशा है. आपने मुझे ये भी कहा कि जो शोभा डे कह रही थी कि मुझे कोई नहीं मिलने आया, मुझे सरकार की तरफ से ना मेरे से कोई बात करने आया, ना मुझे कोई मिलने आया.
सही बात है कि बम विस्फोट में ज़्यादा मतलब मार लगने से बहुत तकलीफ है.
आप 6 महीना अस्पताल में?
6 महीना जे हॉस्पिटल में थे.
और आपने कहा कि शीशा अभी भी है?
हाँ, शीशा भी 100 ग्राम कांच है शरीर के अंदर, कोई मदद भी नहीं कर रहा है मतलब.
तो ये जो फांसी लगी है, आपकी जिंदगी बदलेगी?
जिंदगी तो नहीं बदलेगी, लेकिन जो गुनाह किया है उसको मतलब सजा मिलना चाहिए. उससे ये होता है कि मतलब आदमी को लगता है कि मतलब वो गुनाह किया था, सजा हुआ है. कोई मिलने नहीं,
कोई नेता नहीं, कोई किसी पार्टी का नहीं,
कोई भी पार्टी का नहीं, बीजेपी का नहीं आया, कांग्रेस का नहीं आया, शिवसेना का नहीं आया, कोई भी पार्टी नहीं आया, कोई मदद नहीं की है.
And this is the point, Shobha, you were making. It's the invisibility of being a victim in India. You know, the invisibility of it. And I have here Farooq. आपके साथ क्या?
मैं 10 जनवरी 1993 को जब मस्जिद में नमाज़ पढ़ने गया था, तो अचानक पुलिस इंस्पेक्टर और उसकी टीम मस्जिद में घुसती है और फायरिंग करती है. डरने के बाद ऐसा होता है कि हम लोग मस्जिद के जितने दरवाजे बंद कर देते हैं, वहाँ पर एक खिड़की खुली रहती है. वहाँ पर जब एक खिड़की खुली रहती है तो वहाँ से इंस्पेक्टर निखिल कापसे ने हम लोगों पर एक फायरिंग करना शुरू कर दिए. लेकिन इत्तेफाक ऐसा हुआ कि मेरे आगे एक लड़का था, उसको गोली लगी. मैंने जैसा उसको बाजू किया तो दूसरी गोली आकर मुझे लगी. लेकिन उस दौरान भी पुलिस वाले वहाँ पर गालियाँ और हम लोग को दे रहे थे, हमारे को इतने डरे हुए थे. लेकिन पुलिस के साथ में CRF के कुछ नौजवान थे, जिसमें एक सरदार था. सरदार बेचारा रिक्वेस्ट कर रहा था पुलिस वालों से, लेकिन पुलिस वाले कहीं मानने को तैयार नहीं है. आप जो सिस्टम की बात करते हैं, उसके बाद हमको वहाँ से लेकर गए पुलिस स्टेशन में, हमको बंद किया गया. 3:30 बजे तक सिर्फ हमारे नाम और पते लिखने के लगे. उसके बाद वहाँ से हमको 3 बजे के बाद 4 बजे केम हॉस्पिटल में लेकर गए, वहाँ पर भी हमको मारा गया. फिर मैंने कहा मुझे अभी इलाज नहीं करना है. उसके बाद मुझे 15 दिन जेल में रखा गोली के साथ में, और उसके बाद मेरे
आपका इलाज भी नहीं
हुआ.
गोली के साथ 15 दिन
के साथ में मैं 15 दिन अंदर अंदर रहा और उसके बाद मेरे पास 302, 307 के केसेस लगे। केसेस लगने के बाद भी मुझे 2009 तक कोर्ट में जाना पड़ा और साथ में जब एक आदमी, जब पुलिस के जो विटनेसेस थे उसके अंदर कुछ मुसलमान थे, कुछ हिंदू थे, लेकिन एक हिंदू जो था जिसका नाम श्रावण किल्लारी करके था, उसके हाथ में गोली लगी थी। उसने अपने कोर्ट में आकर एक बयान दिया था जिसने कहा था कि मुझे गोली पुलिस ने मारी और मुसलमानों ने मुझे हॉस्पिटल में लेकर गए। लेकिन वो स्टेटमेंट भी जज जो थी सालून के, जो शिवड़ी 5 नंबर कोर्ट में थी, वो स्टेट।
मैं आपसे एक बात पूछना चाहती हूँ, आपने बहुत अच्छी एक बात बताई हमें कि ऐसा नहीं है कि एक हिंदू मुस्लिम, ये मामला हिंदू वर्सेस मुस्लिम नहीं है। आज आप यहाँ, आपके जो हिंदू भाई हैं, ये जिलाजीत बैठे हैं, वहाँ ताहिर हैं, गिरीश भाई हैं, आप क्या बोलना चाहेंगे? मुंबई शहर आज 22 साल बाद, ये हिंदू मुस्लिम, हिंदू वर्सेस मुस्लिम मामला नहीं।
नहीं, आपको मैं वापस बताना चाहता हूँ कि हमारे मुंबई के अंदर अगर कोई आदमी गिरता है तो उसका धर्म नहीं देखा जाता है और उसका जात नहीं देखी जाती है। अगर उसको जो मदद करने की होती है वो आपको वो मदद करती है।
तो इंसानियत की बात,
इंसानियत जो होती है आज भी लोगों में है।
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल। और मैं आई वांट टू टेक दिस टू सुरेश वाली शेट्टी। आई एम टेकिंग अ फ्यू ऑडियंस क्वेश्चंस as we begin to take last comments. Mr. Wali Shetty, you know, you spoke and I agree with you about vindication for the investigative agencies, people like yourselves who cracked the 93 blast case. But why would you want the same police force to get a bad name about, you know, when people perceive
Riots.
injustice from the police in the riots?
Madam, in the riots also, when there was a circulation commission,
Yes.
and they submitted some reports.
Yes.
On the basis of the reports, the cases were registered against the police officers. They were in custody.
Yes.
Even a police officer of the rank of joint commissioner, that is Mr. R.D. Tyagi, he was also arrested. And it is not that we look at the whether is a Hindu or no.
Yeah.
When I was posted at Bhendi Bazaar, when I took a search of the residence of the Salim Talwar, I found lot of these acid bottles and all. The people, they were attacking us. I told them, don't come here. They were still aggressive.
Yeah.
Then I told them, if you will not stop, I will open fire.
Yes.
I don't know who were they.
Yes.
But they were the rioters.
And you're saying
I
you did
had
not
to
at that
open fire.
moment look at the religion of the rioters.
Yes. I had to open fire.
Okay.
I killed 2 persons.
Yes.
Second incident I will give you. I was patrolling, I was passing Matunga police station. There 2 persons came and halted my vehicle. I was full with AK-47 and all. I was requested कि साहब जरा चलो, ये ट्रांजिट कैंप जो सायन है, वो सायन में हमारा पूरा 18 लोगों का फैमिली कन्फाइन हो गया है, पूरा सब रॉयटर्स है, उनको मार डालेंगे। मैं उनको बोला, भाई तुम माटुंगा पुलिस स्टेशन का मदद लो, ये जॉब मेरा नहीं है, मैं दूसरा काम के लिए नहीं। बोला साहब माटुंगा का वायरलेस गया, 2 बार पब्लिक ने उनको वापस भेजा, तो बोला चल तू मेरे पीछे चल।
So what is the point?
I went there. जितना 8 लोग थे, there was a lot of obstruction for me also.
Yeah.
But since we were 4 persons, I rescued all those 18.
So you're saying the police, every
Yes,
police
we
officer
never-
should not be vilified. There were tough decisions. You do not recognize the religion of a rioter. Sometimes you have to shoot, and your point is taken. But
Police have no religion. We don't know Quran, Bhagavad Gita.
Okay, what-
Our
I'm
religion
saying their
is,
job
no,
is
no,
the
no.
toughest. To be fair, neutral, without any color, their job is the toughest. My only small point is, I am very much saddened at the selective outrage of the intelligentsia in our country at what they have been doing at the the hanging that has happened and the semi-justice that has been brought in. It's mind-boggling to see that he's a terrorist and he was trivialized into making some sort of a hero with the kind of procession that happened, and it was unbelievable. It was unbelievable.
let me get a...
The procession is a ritual in Islam. It is not something that you're supporting the person. It is a procession of janazah that follows. I am a Muslim. I do not consider him as a hero at all. What I am telling you right now is about the ritual that followed after, behind the janazah.
It gives a very wrong message to the young what they are seeing on TV, you see big headlines at saying that they hanged Yakub
This
Memon.
is what I was going to come to.
Okay, now let us speak. What would you like? Okay, you're saying, you're trying to explain this procession is a ritual. Irrespective of who the man is, this is what happens. What do you want to say on the overall case? You're saying Yakub Memon no hero for you.
No hero for me, absolutely not. Nor am I judging as to whether the Indian judiciary has passed the right order or not. I'm sure they have used their minds. I am a lawyer myself. I know the judiciary has passed a proper judgment, used their wisdom correctly. But what my contention is, we have other cases in the past. Since this is an entire discussion about death penalty, we have Dara Singh who has committed heinous crimes. We have Babu Bajrangi. How would you? What are the parameters? How would you decide whether one person?
Yasin Malik also. Lot of people.
Ashok. Okay, last comments. I'll keep taking a few audience questions. Ashok, last thoughts.
I just want to go ahead with what he said.
Yeah.
It's one of the shameful headlines of a newspaper which says they hanged. It's a slap on the system.
But you can't blame people for
I'm not saying telling her.
Okay, let him speak. Let him speak.
No, I'm not telling her.
Yeah.
I'm telling what he said.
Yeah, okay, last
the
thoughts.
question which arises in our minds, a terrorist has been hanged, and the media and a section of people are screaming and shouting as if Bhagat Singh has been hanged there.
Looking into the discussions and other things, I feel that India is the only country where all legal options, legal avenues, everything has been given to the terrorists or whosoever. That is number one. It has not taken 1 or 2 months, it has taken decades.
21
and
years.
number two, I want to please look into the status of the victims. Only
all victims.
All victims, irrespective of their religion. Only a couple of months ago, I would recollect one, I think if I recollect the name, Pradeep Sawant or so, who was leading a vegetable life for about 20 years or so. He was affected by the bomb blast case. He was leading a vegetable life and he died. Yes. And just think of the wife and the small children. There have been people also who have shrapnels in their body and still leading their life, and they have spent lakhs of rupees on treatment.
Zafar.
I think, Barkha, we need to expand this whole debate of terrorism. In Mumbai. Yes, abhi aa jayegi koi bhi ho. In Mumbai.
Come on, what will happen if you say Bombay? I am saying it. Bombay.
Mumbai.
Are these the issues that we should be debating? Please make your point.
About Salman Khan's tweet, people suddenly wake up. And they want to take this issue in the parliament. I want to ask those people. In this Mumbai, 13,000 Hindus' life saving has been looted by an exchange called National Spot Exchange. They are all Hindus. And there is 3 lakh crore of bad loan, not NPA, ma'am, which is never going to come back. Is this act of terror or not?
How is this an act of terror? It's corruption. It's corruption. How is that terrorism?
I need to make one quick
Okay,
point.
Sanju, listen, we are really out of time.
Why are they not raising
Let
this
me
issue?
make
in the
one-
parliament?
Okay, Sanju.
I think, Barkha, this debate is not about Hindu versus Muslim, blast versus
Victims.
riot.
Yes.
Let me just complete. I'll just, take you back 3 weeks back when Mr. Dullab released his book, The Vajpayee Years.
Yes.
And I know so many people who are not the so-called right wing, since that term was used, said, why did we not intercept that plane in Amritsar? Why did we allow the 3 terrorists to go? We could have, not let go of those terrorists.
So what's your point? What's your point?
And even saved the 158 people.
Yes.
Those same people who that time said that India is a soft state, today say, why did we hang Memon? So I think the problem is with our double speak, us being a hypocritical society.
Okay.
This is not a communal issue. Let's make it more. Let's make it more absolutely. Let everybody have a view. Everybody has a freedom to speech. I would like to add on to the spokesperson of BJP. They literally waged a war against the state. He wanted to cripple the government, create a scare and fear in the people of Mumbai.
Can I ask something?
Barkha, there is a larger debate. Barkha, there is a larger debate.
Okay, can I please? I can't hear any of you now. Dilip, last
Killing 1,000 people, I would like to ask this audience and you, madam.
Yeah.
Is that not waging war against India? I just want to place that. Is that not? That's all. That's all I want to say.
Okay. Now we have to move on. Lara.
Barkha, this is about a larger debate also, whether executing somebody would bring closure to the victims, whether it is the correct form of punishment. Today we have to look at it as a civilized nation. Do we want the state to murder when we don't want the people of the state to murder? So this is also about the larger debate of whether death penalty should be retained in our country.
It should be.
And when you...
Okay, please, you don't have a mic. Now please, listen, I'm really requesting you not to speak when you don't have a mic, okay?
I think when in fact the same gentleman raised an issue about the intelligentsia coming out and supporting Yakub Memon or condemning his execution, the support is not for his acts of crime. It is condemning death penalty in toto. I mean, if tomorrow a Maya Kodlani gets death penalty, or tomorrow a Babu Bajrangi gets death penalty, or anybody gets death penalty, or the Delhi rapist gets death penalty.
Sanju.
A killer should be killed. A killer should be killed. A killer should not be allowed to live. He has no right to live.
Let us speak.
Because he is not taking
I have to end. I have to start ending. Please, yeah. Excuse me, please don't shout over there.
One last point.
Excuse me, please.
One last point.
I just want one last point.
Let me make one last point. Let me make one last point. Pakistan suspended death penalty in 2008. Okay? Pakistan removed the moratorium on death penalty only after the brutal killing in Peshawar on 17th December 2014 when 132 children died. And now, post that, every week, at least there are 5 executions because they said deterrent may not be an absolute, death penalty.
We are not using Pakistan as a role model. We are not using Pakistan as a role model here.
We are not using okay. You're all speaking together. You're all speaking together. Sanju, please.
Okay.
Just one last point, Barkha.
It is the best deterrent available.
I'm really requesting you not to shout. I can't hear you like this.
Just one last point,
Please don't
Barkha.
shout. Please don't shout.
One last point, Barkha. We started this debate saying that we are going to talk on 2 issues. One is the dichotomy, and the second is whether death penalty is the correct form of punishment or not.
Yes.
Now, we have exhausted all our time talking about the dichotomy. And this dichotomy, in fact, from the same human cases that you have brought forth, is quite clear. One got support from the judiciary and from the state system, and Yakub Memon is hanged today for some reason or the other, whether it's a closure. The other isn't. What I'm saying is, my point. I'll come to my point.
This is the last question.
Just one last point.
I can't. I'm out of time.
No, I'm just saying philosophically it's an important debate.
Meena, last thoughts.
I just feel that as a nation, if we're going to have an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth, it's not going to get us anywhere. And I think revenge is not justice. And I'm not going to comment. I am firmly against death penalty. And I think as a nation, we have a long way to go in recreating compassion, universal compassion, not selective compassion.
Okay, Ashok?
Yeah, Barkha, it's not a question of eye for an eye. If a killer doesn't, if the mind that nothing is going to happen to him, he'll continue to keep on killing people and he'll be keeping one of scot-free. So he has to be hanged and he has to be killed.
Barkha, it is a very effective deterrent if carried out in time. If you delayed by 20 years and 30 years, actually it's not a deterrent.
Zafar, 20 seconds.
Now, I think now, after all this has happened, we again need to live with compassion, sacrifice and togetherness. I think this is the need of the hour.
Wrap it up for us.
I want to say just this, that on the day of the hanging and on the funeral, there were 2 funerals on the same day.
Yes.
And one funeral made it to the front pages. The other funeral of a very great man was on the 5th or 7th page.
5 pages.
So I think it's time also to give credit to our policemen and investigating officers. They did a remarkable job and maintained peace and order on a very volatile day. So let's not make them into demons and villains. Because we need the safety that they provide. Let's also not demonize the judiciary. If people lose faith in that, then there's very little hope left in India. So let's look at the future in a more positive way. Let's have a debate on capital punishment, not with one section demanding it, but let it be a democratic process. And if it's a referendum that everybody agrees on, then by all means, change it constitutionally, not in a TV studio.
I will just end by saying that never forget that there are real people and real lives at stake. So whether it is Tahir Wagle, who's sitting next to Girish Mehta today, or Jilajit Singh and Farooq Mapkar, these are real people, and hopefully if the Memon execution is the beginning of a process of justice, then there has to be justice for all, and I think we can all agree on that. Thank you very much for joining us.